everyone. Welcome to another webinar in the Energy Storage Market Series. My name is Erez Dolev, and I'm the Managing Director here at RENVU. Today we are going to be hearing from Andy Goldstein, Director of Latin America and Caribbean at Sol-Ark, and Gustavo Romualdo is a solar engineer from Sol-Ark. They will tell us about their 15K inverters and the new 30K and 60K three-phase hybrid inverters. This webinar is recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel and will be available also as a podcast. We will share links to those in a follow-up email. Before we dive in, and while we are waiting for all people to join, I'd like to give a little background on RENVU and some of the products and services we offer. So RENVU is a US-based solar equipment distributor established in 2012. All of our sales engineers have engineering background. We have fulfillment centers in California, New Jersey, and Texas. We are investing significant capital into developing online tools to make it easy to get quotes when you need the quote projects or just want to compare pricing you're getting from other sources. I'll show the online quote tool in a few moments. This year, we are planning to increase significantly our inventory across the country to avoid the supply chain constraints we experienced in the last 2 years. So we will have stable supply of commercial and residential modules, string inverters, optimizers, microinverters, batteries, racking, and other balance of system components. I'd like to spotlight a few of our popular products. Sol-Ark, of course, is the most popular hybrid inverter. We keep a healthy stock of their portfolio. We'll share a portfolio catalog in the chat here. These inverters work great with home grid, Simplify, and Fortress low voltage battery banks. We're offering all our participants a $500 Visa gift card for any Sol-Ark 30K or 60K or Fortress eVolt Max battery bank you're buying. We will share the details in the follow-up email. For cost-effective grid-tied and hybrid high-voltage energy storage inverters options, we have Solis and Growatt inverters, which can be paired with high-voltage batteries like BYD and Pilontech. And for microinverters, we carry Enphase, Generac, and AP systems. We have a good availability of Tigo optimizers and rapid shutdown. For panels, we have on-the-shelf multiple options such as Longi 345, Recom 380s, Hyperion 540, and a large selection incoming, including Longi, Trina, Canadian Solar, REC, and JA Solar. In addition to these modules, we're adding Toledo Solar, who makes cadmium telluride solar. %, ITC when installed in a. We're sharing the data sheet in the chat now, and we'll have a webinar with Toledo very soon. We're updating regularly our commercial price list with inventory and pricing we have. We're sharing a link to this one as well, the spreadsheet. You can use it and revisit when you need large quantities of modules or when you want to see where the market prices are at. I'd like to take a minute also to mention our Bleaky residential carport. This is a great way to expand existing solar systems or in alternative solutions where you cannot install solar on a roof. Shown here is the two-car carport. There is also the option for tandem solution with shared columns, so you can connect multiple of those when you need carport for more than 2 cars. It is designed to be assembled by a crew of 2. It doesn't require any specialized or heavy tools to install it and is a DIY friendly. This is a solar structure, so it is eligible for the ITC. The carport is supplied with an iron reach system and under panel clamp, so it accepts any solar module and inverter you want when complying with the Bleaky EPDM T-gasket. The surface becomes watertight. You can add a decorative mesh to hide the solar components and the electronics and safety solar lights that can be added to the front columns without running any wires or drilling any holes. Depending on the local AHJ requirements, you can also run the wiring through the carport columns. EV chargers are excellent addition, and the carport back columns have pre-drilled holes to install the NLX juice box chargers and cables, and probably in the near future also the Sol-Ark EV chargers. It is designed and fabricated in the US and comes with 25 years warranty. Structure is coming with a structural engineer PE stamp. You can install up to 24 solar modules with 4 columns of 6 modules with basic load capacities of 35 pound per square foot of snow load, which can be upgraded to 65, and 175 miles per hour wind load with seismic design category E. The two-car carport is 18 feet wide and 18 feet deep with 9.5 feet clearance. It comes with 5-degree tilt. You can find a 3D model of the tandem carport and the standalone carport on the Bleak here website. We are sharing a link to it, and if you want to play with the 3D model and see the different components on it. And now I want to share the online design tool. As I mentioned, we are developing online tools for you to be able to get quick quotes and bill of materials to any project you need. Let's see, you can use it for a grid-tied or a off-grid. If you want a full system or just specific components, you select which type of inverter you want to have. On the next page, you will be able to select the solar modules. There are filters that can help you select the one that works best for your project. On the next page, you will select the type of installation, and there are several options such as tilted roof, flat roof, carports, and ground mount. Also like tilted roof with a standing seam metal sheet. As I'm making the selections, the bill of materials on the left is being updated, and if you are logged in to your account, your prices will show up as well. I will create 2 arrays, first array with 2 rows, first row with 10 modules and portrait, second row with 6 modules in landscape, second array with another 8 modules in portrait. I'll select iron reach racking system, S5 for roof attachments, and black rails and clamps. I'll also change the span to 6 feet and the rail to XR100. The system creates a general sketch of the array with the dimensions and rail assembly instructions at the bottom. On the next page, I can select the inverters. And if I want energy storage, let's see, I'm selecting the Sol-Ark 15K, and I'll select the home grid 19.2 kilowatt hour stacked battery bank. On the last page, at the bottom, you can select also RSD if you need and monitoring. On the last page, I can select balance of system. I will add also NLX EV chargers, and that's all. After I'll click finish here, I'll see the complete bill of materials, and I can send the formal quote to my email. You can email it to our sales team at info@renvu.com with a quote number, and we can review the bill of materials and weigh in with insights on configuration and availability. Okay, I think we can start now. We have a significant number of participants already. As I mentioned, this webinar is being recorded, and we will upload it to our YouTube channel, and it will be available as a podcast. We will share the links in the follow-up email. All participants will get $500 Visa gift card for every Sol-Ark 30K or 60K you're buying, or also Fortress, eVolt, mats. The details of how to redeem this will be included in the follow-up email. If you have questions during the presentation or the Q&A session, use the Q&A button, which makes it easier for us to make sure we answered all the questions. You can also use the chat with any remarks you have. We are all reading it during the presentation. The webinar is much more interactive and fun when you all use it. So Andy and Gustavo, I think I can you can take over, and I'll start sharing your deck.
Perfect. Thank you, Erez. We appreciate everybody coming today and appreciate RENVU for inviting us. My name is Andy Goldstein. I am the director of Latin America and Caribbean. I also help out with other company activities, helping our business team grow. So we're adding a lot of people, and our company is growing really, really fast. And today, I'm going to try to work with Gustavo to unpack a whole lot of information in a very short time period. If at any time you want us to go back over something one more time, we didn't, 100% convey it clearly, I'm more than happy to go back over anything. There's just so much to unpack, from our residential inverters to our newest commercial inverters, and then we have some cool new products coming out later this year. And so what I'm going to do is share my screen here, and we'll get started. Okay, guys. So just a real quick overview of who we are. Some of you may have worked with us. Some of you may be brand new. So Sol-Ark was originally founded as Portable Solar LLC 10 years ago by 3 defense engineers and 2 US veterans. So we're a little bit different than, I would say, the conventional solar or storage company story. Our story starts with a bunch of DIYers with engineering backgrounds who wanted to design a system that checked all of the boxes of features and benefits that they would want when they couldn't find something out there in the market that really was up to their standards. So they put their heads together, started the company, and since then they have developed an all-in-one hybrid inverter, which is a fancy word for a power center that controls the power flow from batteries in solar to a building's power, and the other direction, works with generators. And they started small with a Sol-Ark 8K in 2017, and we listened to the market, and the market kept saying, more power, go bigger, we need to start up heavier stuff. So they went back to the drawing board, came out with the 12K, then we came out with the 15K, which is the inverter I'll talk more about shortly, and then we're coming out with our 30K, which has just been released this month, and our 60K, which is due to be out, I would say, the end of this quarter. So what we want to convey to the market and to everybody who's with us today is we're all about resiliency. We're about being able to protect your family or your business. And that's not just in a backup situation, but the utilities, they tend to play games now and then with rates. They do away with net metering, or they change the net metering. They have high demand charges. They sometimes start peak and off-peak rates. Our systems are designed through software to be able to handle any situation, anytime. So it's not just what happens if the grid fails, but it's also what happens if the utility does something differently and impacts the ROI on the investment. So right now we're growing really fast. Like I said, we're going to be moving from our current 95,000 square foot facility to a 315,000 square foot facility in March. And we try our best to put 360 degrees of thought into our products and service. What does that mean? It means what's important to the end user. Is it going to work? Is it affordable? Is it a good value? Is it supported? To the installer, is this easy to install? Is it something that I'm going to be happy to offer to my customers? To groups like RENVU, we want it to be easy to stock. We want it to be easy to ship. So having an all-in-one unit, simplifying the SKUs into one box, reduces carrying costs and reduces margin of error, so you don't accidentally, oh, I didn't get the X piece or the Y piece, like some other manufacturers that require a lot of piecemealing of many components together. And then, of course, with what we do, since we're focused on that niche of energy storage and backup, we want to make sure that customers are always looked after. We have 7 days a week live support. I can't emphasize this enough. It's almost annoying how much we talk about this, but again, call us anytime. Our number is 972-575-8875. We love taking phone calls from homeowners, from installers, from DIYers, anyone. If you have questions as simple as Sesame Street, ABC Big Bird, I'm just learning about solar, all the way up to I'm an advanced guru, been doing this for 30 plus years, we're more than happy to speak with you. In fact, we like to joke about if you don't call us or don't reach out, it's your fault, and that's a joke, but it's really important to let everybody know if we're not responding timely, we need to hear about it. Again, we're going through a tremendous amount of growth. We've added a lot of people and we're doing our best to keep up. And I think we're doing a pretty good job, but we're not perfect. So we want to hear about it if you think we can do something better. About the products, again, we finish all of our product here at our facility in Texas. We have 100% quality control and quality assurance, meaning every system is tested right here. We package it and then deliver to RENVU from our facility here in Dallas, Fort Worth. And we focus a lot on training. In the bottom here of the screen, you can see our training van. We have one now. We're building out several more to go around the country and train, just like we train on the left side here, right at our facility on our training wall. So we hope to bring training to everybody. So here's another picture of the van and a Sol-Ark with basically a fully functioning off-grid setup with loads and plugs and the like. Really cool. And we hope to be able to see you sometime. Just reach out if you have some interest there. Here's a little inside view of our newest facility, and we will have right on the highway here this very large tracker. It's something that we want to let everybody know in the area that we're a solar company and solar is the future. We also work with some other groups. We call them integrators. What that means is they take our widget, the Sol-Ark widget, and put it inside their bigger widget. And we're the choice right now of a lot of public companies and groups. So one example is Beam. They're an off-grid charging company. Another is Savant. They do high-end home energy automation. And we're very honored to be a part of their product lines. We oftentimes get questions about financing. Where can I finance a system? If you have a solar installer working with RENVU, you can reach out to them and ask about any of these financing groups. They can offer solar project financing for residential. One of the important things to note about this is that if these financial groups rely on basically the manufacturer performing for their money, then you can be sure and rest assured that they've done a lot of due diligence to make sure that we're bankable. Not all products qualify for the approved vendor list of these major financing groups. And then coming soon, it's not on their website yet, but it's going to happen, I'm thinking around March, is Solar Insure. We're super excited about this product. It's an all-in-one solar extended warranty for not just solar products, but for all products on their approved vendor list. So it could be panels, it can be inverters, batteries, the racking, everything, all in one system warranty for 30 years. Super exciting that we're going to be on the Solar Insure AVL shortly. So I wanted to talk about my family a little bit because nothing gets closer to home than practicing what you preach. This is my family in Puerto Rico. That's my daughter right here on the left, and uncles and nieces and nephews. They have one of our 15K Sol-Arks and a home grid battery with 10 kilowatts of solar. And this is what the system looks like. So this is a real system happening today. One Sol-Ark 15K with a home grid battery with 24 kilowatt hours of usable storage. And this system pretty much backs up the whole home. Puerto Rico, unfortunately, has a lot of grid instability, and they're facing blackouts quite frequently, and the power is extremely expensive. So my family decided to install this system there, and it's so fast that it transfers without any glitches. And I'll talk about this feature in a little bit more detail shortly. Bill is my bro, and he he sent me a message, and I didn't prompt him. He said that the system went out, and he didn't even know that the system switched. It was such a fast transfer time when they used to have to deal with really annoying glitches and power outages. Even with a fuel-based generator, they had some delay, but they don't face that issue anymore. And they can start up some really heavy stuff, a lot of air conditioners, pumps, and the like with just one of our Sol-Arks. One of our Sol-Ark 15Ks can do 12 kilowatts off grid and do 24 kilowatts of surge, which is just about what it would take for 3 Tesla Powerwalls. And we're not trying to talk bad about the competition. What we're trying to do is show you that you can power a whole lot of stuff in a really small space, because they needed to use a lot of extra space here in their garage area, and they were able to put their system here in one nice clean install modularly and not have to take up a whole lot of wall space to do that. And that's another reason why we are working in banks, we're in hotels, government, clinics, hospitals, doing a lot of IT and finance work because people are working from home, or they have trading stations, banking, or they want just the convenience and comfort of not having to reset their oven clock, their microwave over and over again when the power goes out. So we have a 5 millisecond transfer time. We call it the no glitch switch. It's super fast. You don't even know it happens. That's the wow factor. Nothing is noticed when the power goes out.
About this installation in Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
Colin is asking if there is sufficient space around the inverter for cooling in that installation.
Yes. Yes. So you can stack multiple inverters in parallel as long as you keep about 6 to 8 inches in between each inverter. Then it's plenty of room to make sure there's proper ventilation. If you have some more specific questions on this, please put them in the Q&A chat. And I'll also allow Gustavo. He's one of our expert engineers. I'm super excited he's with us today. He is more than happy to go a little bit deeper on some of any technical questions that you might have. Right here is just in this slide. It's a little bit, I would say, rough because it's just an Excel chart. But what we did is we did some competitor analysis. And what we want to do at Sol-Ark is provide you a one-stop shop solution. So we have our residential grade inverters, and then we have the commercial grade inverters coming out this quarter. And then we were a little delayed with our micros. We get a lot of questions about those because when the Inflation Reduction Act came out, some of the incentives incentivize manufacturers in a different way than we had previously designed our system. So we're doing a couple of design changes. Just stay tuned, everybody. Please be patient. We appreciate it. It will benefit everyone when we release this product with a full government subsidy. We're coming out with our own optimizers. So we are compatible with third-party optimizers like Tigo and AP Systems. We do often get questions about, can Sol-Ark come out with its own optimizer? So we listened, and we're doing that. And so I'll show a little bit more information about what that product looks like. We do get questions about our EV chargers because we have some prototype displays at trade shows. I have one slide on that, but that's still under development, and I don't really have any further information beyond one slide. But just so you know, it's coming, guys. We'll get there. And utility interactive means we actually want to participate in initiatives where utilities are actually now aligning their interests with homeowners. One of these is called VPP, that's virtual power plant. That is essentially where the utility creates a program where a homeowner or business owner opts in to help subsidize the battery cost. So the utility says, hey, we'll subsidize your battery cost if you give us access to some of the power in that battery. And then we'll pay you to be able to pull that power when we need to pull the power, because the utilities are facing really high costs to build out new transmission infrastructure or generation infrastructure. It's much more cost effective for the utilities to be able to pull power directly from batteries right there locally. And so we're already compliant with a protocol called OpenADR 2.0. There is also IEEE 2030.5. I don't plan to go deep in the weeds on this today. It's a general presentation. It's just to show you that what we're attempting at Sol-Ark is to create solutions across not just residential and C&I, but also working with utilities in a way that benefits both the homeowner and the utility. So I'm going to do a quick intro about the 15K. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I want to allow enough time to get to other things. But let's just start. So our Sol-Ark 15K, it's a whole home solution. We had the 12K, but this can do quite a bit more power. And one of the features on the left that I'm circling here, I hope you can see my little laser pointer. It's a 200 amp integrated transfer switch. And why is this important? It's important because now you can avoid the need for a separate critical loads panel, sub panel, or transfer switch. That usually takes up a lot of install time, a lot of cost, and you don't get to back up every single circuit. Sometimes you have to make really tough choices and trade-offs where, oh, I can only back up 10 or 14 circuits out of 40. With this, you don't have to deal with those choices. And if you work with a professional installer, it's possible that they would have to come out quite often, do a truck roll, change the circuits. It's kind of annoying. It's just been something that's always been the case with backup, but now we've solved that. You know, if you can just tie everything in from the main service panel to that 200 amp transfer switch. So, and our commercial inverters can do the same. And Gustavo will share a little bit more about that. So it's an all-in-one solution. Again, all of your charge controllers are built in on the DC side. We can also do AC coupling and generator coupling. So you can install the Sol-Ark if you already have solar. Perhaps you have Solar Edge or in-phase microinverters or an SMA string inverter. You don't have to disrupt what you already invested in. Just AC couple it to the Sol-Ark. If you already have a fuel generator, you don't have to think, well, what's the point because I already have a generator. Just tie that right in. We'll save you a lot of fuel by using the generator to top off your batteries, and you can then wait for the sun to come up the next day. So you can just use the fuel generator just to kind of get you over the edge if you're off grid until the sun comes up, and then you use your solar panels on the DC side. Super efficient because you're going DC to DC and not having to do several conversions, DC to AC, AC to DC, back and forth. It's just straight DC to DC, super efficient. And this is what the wiring area looks like on the inside. On the left, we have a battery breaker, a 200 amp transfer switch, like I said, and then we have up to 19 kilowatts of DC power from solar panels. The little image here on the right, this is what our screen looks like, but we also have PowerView Pro and my Sol-Ark, which are monitoring platforms. And those monitoring platforms are remotely accessible just with the internet. And again, our engineers are available 7 days a week to help you not only set this up, commission it, but also to monitor it. So if you think something's not going right with your system, give us a call at 972-575-8875, press 2, and any of our engineers are more than happy to look inside your system. And then lastly, if you are just thinking about getting a system, but you're not sure if it's the right one for you, we're happy to look at your plan sets, your preliminary designs. If you're considering another option, we're happy to compare it, and we'll tell you the straight facts and whether we're the right fit or another is the right fit. So just because you're not yet a customer, everyone out there who hasn't worked with us, doesn't mean we're going to turn you away. We would love to hear from you. So I'm going to now just share with you one slide. We do have the EV chargers coming out pretty soon. Pretty cool product. What we want to do is be able to use bidirectional charging to increase efficiency and actually just make it so it's super easy to do a lot of things that you normally can't do. I'm going, I can share this deck with RENVU, and they can send it out. We have a comparison slide. I'm not going to go into the weeds on this, but we've done the research, and there are a lot of other companies out there that have a solution, and we think our solution will soon be extremely competitive in the market with what's out there. So without further ado, I'm going to allow Gustavo to share his screen. I'm going to stop sharing mine, or RENVU, if you can maybe just help me with that. Let's see here. I'm going to yeah, thank you. Undo the screen share and allow Gustavo to talk about our newest commercial grade inverters. These are super exciting products because, to our knowledge, there has not been a solution developed for the small commercial and industrial space. There are a lot of really large, even up to utility scale solutions, but the CNI space has been quite neglected. But with net metering 3.0 in California and grid instability plus incentive programs, there's a market need for a commercial level hybrid that's super easy to install. And so we think we've done it, and we would love to share it with you today. And I'm going to introduce Gustavo Romaldo again from our engineering team. Take it away, Gustavo.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, RENVU. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Gustavo Romualdo. I am part of the solar engineering team here at Sol-Ark, and I will be presenting you some detailed aspect and information about the 30 and 60K, which are our newest inverters. So let's get into it. All right. Well, the first thing that we need to know about these new inverters is that they are all in one solution. So basically with the 30K, we have here the main or the more important aspects. The first one is the high voltage MPPTs. With this, you will have the capability to distribute 39 kilowatts of PV into 4 MPPTs with 2 strings per MPPT. We can jump into more detail in the next slide. So another important aspect about this 30K is that you don't need an external transfer switch due to the fact that it has a 200 amp internal relay ready to disconnect from the unit or from the grid in case of any sudden voltage drop or any sudden peak in the frequency. So on that side, your unit and appliances will always be protected. Another important aspect is the high voltage charge controllers. Basically with this, the end user will be able to connect high voltage batteries into the Sol-Ark. And in order to do this, we will require closed loop communication to charge and discharge the battery bank. This communication can be executed through our CAN bus or through our RS485 port. And we go through 3 stages of charge. We can include as well equalization for your batteries if needed. Another important aspect about the 30 and 60K is that you can connect generators into them, just as the other members of the Sol-Ark product line. And basically, we can use them to charge your battery bank if needed when they reach a certain threshold. And as well, you can use this port, this port in the Sol-Ark to AC couple into the inverters. You can use another string inverter, microinverters, a generator, or basically, I think that would be the most common usage for this port. Another important aspect is the arc fault monitoring. The Sol-Ark will throw an arc fault if the current suddenly spikes in order to protect the system, and it will require the installer or the homeowner to erase this fault in order for the Sol-Ark to start producing power again. And the last main aspect or that we can see here in the slide is that we are a transformer-less inverter. Basically, we use IGBTs to convert the power coming from DC into AC.
And again, guys, all of these features are available with our residential inverters. It's just a lot more power, more MPPTs, and the key difference of being a high voltage battery rather than a low voltage 48 nominal volt battery. But again, all of these same features are both available in the residential and commercial versions.
That is correct. Thank you for pointing that out, Andy. And actually, basically the main difference between the residentials and these commercial and industrial inverters may be that these are three-phase inverters. So basically, you will have only one unit to get to manage phase A, B, and C, and that you can use Delta and Y configuration with the 30 and 60K. All right, so just as we mentioned before, here are some of the specs for the 30K. The max AC power that you can input into this unit is 30 kilowatts, and the maximum DC solar is 39 kilowatts. You can distribute this into the 4 MPPTs by just inputting 9.75 kilowatts in each MPPT. As I already mentioned, you can AC couple into this inverter. You can AC couple 60 kilovolt amps with no PV, and the preferable combination of AC and DC would be 39 kilowatts coming from PV and 30 kilovolt amps from the AC coupling solution that you choose. I would also like to say that in the MPPTs, we have 500 volts and 36 amps limit. So if you go above this, there's a high risk of damaging the inverter. So I would stay under that limit. Another thing is that we can pass through 200 amps or up to 72 kilowatts. So that's a lot of power. And basically what you can see here is the user wiring area. Let me just activate the laser point. So basically we can see the MPPTs here, the high voltage MPPTs. And as I mentioned, you have 4 of them. 1 here, 2, 3, and 4. Here you can see the high voltage battery terminals, which need to have the BMS communication or closed loop communication. In here, you will be able to connect the RS485 port, the closed loop, the CAN bus, and the parallel ports in order to communicate with other Sol-Arks. Because with this inverter, you can stack up to 12 units. In here, you can see the load terminals, the gen port that I was talking about previously, and sorry, the gen port is here, and this one right here is the utility. So basically, this is the layout for the 30K. And in this slide, we can see the standard wiring for a 30K unit. As you can see, let me just grab a laser pointer again. We have the solar panels going into the PV input or the MPPTs. You can connect a rapid shutdown. And if you have a battery bank, well, you do need a battery bank for this unit. You can connect the transmitters on the pins that are located in this area right here. So basically, in the scenario of an emergency, you can just cut the power coming from the PV. The high voltage batteries, as you can see depicted in the chart or in the diagram, you can use 2 of them separately into each battery input in the Sol-Ark. And the battery communication, just as I mentioned before, you can connect those through the BMS or well, the BMS, you can just as well connect the grid directly to the grid port in the Sol-Ark. And as I was already mentioned, or as I mentioned before, you can connect a generator, microinverters, or any other AC coupled solution in port of the inverter. And for the 60K, we have similarities with the 30K. Basically, what we have here is that the maximum, or the main difference here is that the maximum AC power that you can connect into the 60K is, as the name implies, 60 kilowatts. Oops, sorry for that one. And basically, on this unit, you can connect 78 kilowatts coming from your PV array. As again, you can just distribute this evenly into the 4 MPPTs and connect 19.5 kilowatts. On this one, you can only do these 277 and 480 voltage for 3-phase, and you can also stack up to 12 units. Both units, the 30 and the 60K, are stackable and have an enclosure of NEMA 3R. So basically, you just have to protect the screen from direct sunlight. Any other dust, dirt, mud will be kept out of the inverter. And if you're considering the option of getting 2 15Ks instead of a 30K, here's a small analysis, or a pretty simple analysis of what 2 15Ks can do compared to a 30K. And as you can see, there is a big difference, specifically in the cost. Basically, we are talking about $2,000 more. But with the downside that the 15K cannot balance the 3-phase that you will need with the 30K. So basically, you will be able to power 3-phase loads, but probably there will be an imbalance in the system with only 2 15Ks. If you go for the 30, you will be able to configure the inverter to work in Delta or Y configuration. You will have the 3 phases in one single inverter, and basically you will be saving up to those $2,000 that I just mentioned. And well, basically what we want you to keep from this presentation are these key points. Basically, that we are versatile. We can work in on and off-grid situations. We are simple. We, I think we are the simplest inverter to wire up in the market. We have even DI wires who have no background in electronics, and they manage to connect their systems. We are fast and powerful. We have a 5 milliseconds transfer switch in the scenario of an outage. We are smart. We can program the inverter to peak shape during peak hours. We can activate the time of use to save money during nighttime. We can work as a BPP. We have incentive programs. Well, we work, or we are listed in incentive programs with the government. We offer free monitoring tools like PV Pro, and we are also developing our newest app, which is My Sol-Ark. We are compliant with UL, SGIP, CEC, HECO, among many others. And I think what makes us different is definitely our world-class support. You can contact us 7 days a week through our main line, which is 972-575-8875, extension 2. We also provide technical support in Spanish. And you can contact us on support@sol-arc.com. I don't know if you have anything else to add here, Andy.
Absolutely. Let's get the juices flowing, guys. Think about every single small business out there that could benefit from solar plus storage, just like homeowners can with their own residence. So we get lots of calls now already from pharmacies, doctor's offices, clinics, everything from think about fast food, auto shops, all the above. If you have a off-grid, maybe agricultural application, fabrication application, we can do it. We can just take it off the grid. A lot of people also want to design a super large high-end home in their favorite place where they can't bring in the utility. An example would be a family that I heard about. They have a very large ranch in Montana, overlooks the mountains. It's very hard to bring in the utility. The utility wanted to charge them hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring in power. So they just said, we're just going to design our home, really big home, and they'll just use 3-phase service or just add, or they'll do 15Ks. We're still looking at it with single split phase, but they can scale the size of that to really power that entire building or large home, you know, all of their creature comforts, jacuzzis and pools and all that stuff, totally off grid. But the realistic look at this is the vast majority, as we think in percentage terms, of urban areas, they need a solution to be able to monetize the tax credits while having backup power and then allowing the sun to basically help pay for their generator. It's a solar generator without, you know, the risk of needing fuel. You can't bring in fuel when there might be a really bad storm and power lines and trees are in the street, or there's a lot of, you know, real slick roads like we had in Texas just last week where it's super icy. You wouldn't necessarily have that issue if you have a solid state solar generator for a business. And then one business owner also told me that he's negotiating with his insurance carrier to actually reduce their risk of loss premiums because they're going to have this kind of system that will help protect some perishable items in their business. So think creatively about all of the applications that this particular product now can help solve for the market. And so I'm going to let maybe Erez, you know, there are a lot of questions both in the chat and in the Q&A section. Let's go through some of those. Some of them I'm going to let Gustavo answer, and then others I think I can answer as well, but I'm going to let you moderate how we should approach this.
Sure. Okay, so if anybody have more questions, throw them in the Q&A section. You will find a button at the Zoom pan for the Q&A. Yeah, that's it.
And while
do
we're
you want-
answering these questions, Erez, just if we didn't cover something that you would have hoped we cover today for the audience, just let us know and we're happy to cover something on the fly. We might have a slide or two, you know, besides what we showed today.
Sounds good. What will be most convenient to you? Do you want me to read them, or do you want to read them out loud and answer them?
No, you can read them, and then I'll either answer or Gustavo.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can focus on the Q&A section.
Sounds good. So the first one is, given the battery breaker is 200 amps, what happens when the inverter operates at a maximum AC output with only battery connected?
Okay, there we are talking about the 15K, correct?
I assume so, yeah.
Okay.
Or,
well,
I mean, it can be also to the other inverters because both of them have that breaker, right?
yeah, well, the main difference here is that with the 15K, if we're only pulling from the batteries, we will be able to push 50 amps or around 12 kilowatts. That would be the output from the inverter into the loads.
Sounds good.
I don't know if that answers your question, Colleen.
You can follow up with another question if not.
Okay.
Will these new inverters have peak shaving and load shifting working mode? Which Modbus protocol will those have?
Oh, okay. Uriel, regarding this question, I do not have an answer. I do know that we will have the peak shaving feature, or that we have the peak shaving feature on the 30 and 60K, but specifically about the Modbus protocol, I do not have that information in handy. Actually, I'm gonna write you my email on the chat. So if I cannot answer any question, you can just send it to me directly, and I will discuss this with my colleagues in the engineering team, so I can give you an accurate answer.
Yeah, so
All
right
right.
now we're getting a lot of questions about the high voltage batteries and the compatibility of the high voltage batteries. What are the protocols? So engineering is working with several battery companies for both Modbus and CAN bus right now, and there are a lot of moving parts regulatory wise happening at the same time. We have ULs, we have especially UL 9540, which is in process with several groups. So the short answer is we'll have this, but you know, if we have to recommend loosely companies that we think are as close as possible, I would go with HomeGrid, I would go with Endure, and I would look at MK Battery, MK Deca. Now, that list of three does not necessarily limit it to those three. We're just working really hard with them to make sure that they test their batteries and that they work 100% well. In fact, our engineers are actually really well trained in batteries. So that's another reason we find customers like working with us. It's not just because of Sol-Ark, but we work really hard to help battery companies improve their technology when they partner up with us. And so we can answer a lot of questions related to different batteries that already are compatible with the Sol-Ark and have bidirectional communications. So send us an email to support, SUPPORT, at sol-ark.com. The 30K, literally, I mean, it's just come off the finish line, and the 60K is coming down the line, you know, in the next couple of months. So a lot of these activities are happening behind the scenes in real time. So just ping us, and you know, if we have an update, we'll be happy to give you one. So appreciate the question. Yep.
So I don't know if it answered also the next question. Can the high voltage charge port ever be used to charge a EV over CCS1?
Okay, for that question, I don't have an answer as well. We truly appreciate your
what is
understanding
CCS1
on this matter.
Please educate me. You know, maybe I need to learn a little bit on this. Can that please be defined?
Marco, if you can expand a little bit what it means. Let's move to the next one. Does the AGS turn off at 95% like the smaller inverters? If so, when will we be able to tell the Sol-Ark to turn off the generator at like 50%?
Okay, so on that one, if I understand correctly, basically the question is if we are able to cut off the power coming from the generator when we reach 95%, and if we can define it to cut the power when we reach 50%. If that is the case, yes, we can do that with time of use. Actually, we will charge the batteries up to 95% on when they reach their absorption voltages.
And he's asking what is the negative voltage on the new inverters? Is it 208Y or 120?
Well, you can set them up to work in Delta and Y configuration. In this case, I think he is referring to Y12208. So yeah, wherever he is located, we will be able to work and connect to its grid without any troubles.
Sounds good. Is there a compatible home grid high voltage battery already available, or is it still under development?
So my
Okay.
understanding is that this is so the hardware is ready, the battery, I mean, this is a home grid question, so we don't mean to speak for home grid, they're a separate manufacturer. Our understanding though is that they're just doing a couple of tweaks on the BMS. And so that is, we're hearing imminent with them. So it's almost ready, but not quite. And if you have questions on that, of course, please reach out to HomeGrid. You can reach out to us, of course. We'll give you our latest from what we've heard from HomeGrid, but of course, HomeGrid is going to be the one to give you the most up-to-date and accurate info.
Okay. What is the maximum string voltage, PV DC string voltage? 600, 1000,
Okay.
or 1500?
If we are talking about the 30 kW, that would be 500 volts and 36 amps. If we are talking about the 60K, that would be much higher. That would be 1000 volts and 36 amps as well. And that is the maximum voltage and current per MPPT.
For a larger system, how would you recommend disconnecting all strings simultaneously at the array side? If the array is a distance away, all 3 strings for the Sol-Ark 15K and all 4 strings for the Sol-Ark 30K, is there a 6/8 pole disconnect you would recommend for this situation?
Okay, let me go through the question again. I'm still rereading the question. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, regarding the pole disconnect, we cannot give any recommendation on hardware or on hardware. And regarding the best way to simultaneously disconnect, I'm not entirely sure what he means. I don't know if you can clarify the question, Keith. I think we can move to the next one. It seems that you can.
I'm not sure that Fargo is a statement or a question. Can you put a lot more power through both AC and DC than the unit can export?
I think this is referring to the PV. So you can AC and DC couple PV at the same time and produce power from the PV going into the inverter, whether it's, microinverters that are generating AC at the panel level, and then it's going into the Sol-Ark to convert to DC to the batteries, or DC to DC straight from the solar panels. And you can AC and DC couple up to 19 kilowatts, whether it's on the AC side or DC side on the 15K. So what we're trying to do is show you that whether you're installing for the first time, new install, you can do it DC super easy into the MPPTs. But if you already have a system, you can just AC couple what's there into the Sol-Ark. So again, it is an extreme example. If you want to put up to 38 kilowatts of solar PV on one inverter, that's that's a bit extreme, I guess. It's a bit different, but theoretically it can be done. What we're trying to do is show you, no matter what your particular situation is, that you have the option to do it on the DC side or the AC side. I hope that answers your question, Fargo.
Question here from Dana. If you're AC coupling solar with this 30 kilowatt unit, do you lose the ability to integrate a generator? Can you do both?
Okay. In this case, Dana, if you're AC coupling into any inverter of the Sol-Ark product line, yep, you will lose the ability to integrate a generator. We do not encourage you to connect that generator if you have micros or another string inverter connected to the Sol-Ark.
Gustavo, if I'm misunderstanding, I think in some situations, if we add an ATS on the like a separate ATS on the grid, that you might be able to do it, but there's some nuance there. So again, you know, there's sometimes a way to do it, but it just depends on your specific setup and kind of how you're AC coupling and what you want the system to do. So reach out to us again. Generally it's a no, but I think sometimes in some there are some exceptions to that.
Yep, that is correct, Andy. Thank you for pointing that out. If you have a specific diagram that you wanted to us to take a look at it, you can send us to support@sol-ark.com and we can give you feedback. But yep, as Andy says, the general answer is no, but we can tweak it to make it work.
We're trying hard to be careful on these types of presentations to not be 100% cookie cutter. It's a yes or no. There are a lot of creative ways to accomplish something. So again, that's why we're here. That's why we have a lot of engineers in our staff, and we've invested a lot of capital on the engineering side, because there's so much technology advancement. There's so much happening that maybe there's a third-party product that has recently come out, some kind of disconnect, or it could be a ATS or just anything. And then we could say, oh yeah, if you check out this thing, you can possibly, you know, actually achieve what you're trying to do. Previously you couldn't, but now you can. So again, guys, please reach out to us at support@sol-ark.com or give us a call, 972-575-8875.
There is a question here that received 3 thumbs up, which is which high voltage batteries are compatible?
All right, regarding that question, we have been testing in our facilities Endure Energy, Deca, HomeGrid, PylonTech, but we still need to finish the testing processes. Those have behaved accordingly and have behaved in a good way with 30K, but on that one, I wouldn't feel comfortable recommending any specific brand at the moment.
And again, we're approached by several brands all the time. There are more. Again, things are under testing, so we're happy to share as we learn more. Just like on the residential side, we have now over, I think it's 20 battery partners. This is happening in real time. So again, reach out to us, just check in, just say, hey, you know, I'm just checking in on this, and we're happy to give you our latest update. And then reach out to battery companies. If there's a favorite battery that's between 300 volts and say 900 volts that you like, that maybe we haven't heard of. There's so much happening in this industry right now. Reach out to them, connect them with us, and we're happy to take a look at it.
A question about the 208 volt. Do I no longer need the 3 inverters for a 3-phase 208 system with new inverters?
Yep, David, you no longer need 3 inverters with 30K. That's the main advantage of it. Basically, you will have the 3 phases on the 30K. You don't have to balance them anymore. like with the 12 and 15K.
What is the maximum power size AC diesel generator we can use with a 30K?
All right. Regarding that question, I do not have a specific answer, but I think it would be if it's bigger or larger than 24 kilowatts, you can just connect it into the grid port.
Okay. Is the 30K and 60K inverters, is the solar optional, or do you have to have solar? Meaning charging from the grid instead of
You can use the 30K and 60K without using the MPPTs. So there are a lot of customers that they get their storage solution and then they get the hybrid and they install it and it becomes a solid state renewable generator that doesn't require fuel. The only drawback to that is how do you charge the battery if you run out of battery power? Let's say you're running a lot of stuff at night, more than you expected, or we're realists. The weather patterns can change and you can get some heavy rain for a few days or something. So, you might want to have a fuel-based generator from the AC side, charge it up, but it can be done. I would also suggest thinking about if you do the work, at least do some solar panels, because you could monetize the incentives and tax credits for the solar as well. But it can work. It can work without solar. And for what it's worth, there was another question earlier. I answered it in the chat. We do get questions if you can install our hybrid inverters without batteries, and the answer is yes, absolutely. It won't provide backup power. It will function just like a regular string inverter, but we understand some customers want to maybe wait for a particular battery solution and they want to install the Sol-Ark. They want to get their panels on. They want to start either a cell back or some kind of zero export and then add the batteries later. So you can do that with both the residential inverters and the commercial grade inverters.
Okay. Gail is asking, we're struggling to get batteries approved for installations inside small commercial buildings as it related to fire code compliance. What do you recommend when there is no room for batteries outside?
We generally see a lot of batteries installed indoors. So I would choose an option that would allow you to either be outdoors or indoors. But to our understanding that, I think that would be a battery company question. But again, we see, we're working with thousands upon thousands of systems that all have batteries, and they're doing just fine. We have a lot of 12208 small commercial already in the field with our 15K. Again, even though the 15K is more designed for whole home backup for a single split phase application, the system can do 12208 3-phase. You just, for perfect balancing, would need 3 of the 15Ks installed together for each phase. So you would do banks of 3 15Ks, 3, 6, 9. However, our goal is to reduce the complexity of that type of setup, reduce the cost, and have a high voltage solution with the 30K. Gustavo shared a slide about 2 or 3 15Ks versus 1 30K. That's what we were attempting to communicate to the audience today. So please reach out to us. I'd like to learn for my own education, maybe what that means for your specific AHJ or zip code. Where are you located and what are you trying to accomplish? Maybe there's a particular building code that we need to be aware of. Thank you.
Colin is asking, in zero export mode, what would be the typical minimum draw from the grid?
All right, when we are working in zero export mode, we just send pulses into the grid just to sense that it's still there. Basically, I would say probably in between 20 to 60 watts.
The 30K can integrate a standby generator. Does the 15K has the same ability for automatic startup?
Can you, which question was that, Chris?
From Elroy. No, from Elroy. I wasn't paying attention. He says, I saw the 30K can integrate a standby generator. Does the 15K has the same ability for automatic startup?
Yep, you can connect a generator into the 30K, and yep, the 30K has the auto start capability, just
Also
as
the
all the
15K?
product line from Sol-Ark.
Does the 30 and 60K have UL9540 with which batteries?
Right now, all of our battery partners are currently in the UL 9540 process. It seems there continues to be confusion in the market about UL 9540, that this is an inverter. It's an inverter certification. It is not. It's a battery certification. Again, they have to take our inverter to get the UL 9540. So we just kindly ask you reach out to battery companies for their feedback, because they're the ones that are driving that certification. We will prioritize 100% their needs from our side. However, it's up to the battery manufacturers to get this accomplished.
What is the largest single phase 120 240 volt hybrid inverter you offer for residential?
Okay, Lawrence, that would be the 30K, but it will be coped down to 20 kilowatts. You can also consider the 15K, 12K, 8K, and 5K, but the biggest one is, I believe, the 30K.
Lawrence, I would ask a follow-up question to that, and the question is, let's work backwards. What are you looking to power? How long do you need to power it for, so that we can work with you on a design that would be the right fit? So my assumption would be the 15K, and you would tie whatever the loads are from your main service panel. Hypothetical, it's a 200 amp service, right into the 200 amp integrated transfer switch without the need for a separate loads panel. And then you would just add enough storage to satisfy whatever amperage draw you would need and total consumption. However, it's, just to say, what is the largest inverter? I mean, we can offer, 15K, which will do 15,000 watts when it's grid connected, 12,000 watts when it's off grid or island mode. But we would hope to provide you with a little bit more value and a clearer answer by really help coach you through the best practice of what you're trying to do for your project. So give us a call, 972-575-8875, or in the chat I put our support. It's support@sol-arc.com.
There is a question here that comes back twice. Are wiring diagrams available for the 30 and 60K inverters? Wondering whether there is a load terminal like the smaller inverter.
Gustavo, can you share that one slide with the wiring diagram again? Maybe you can share that one slide.
Yeah,
That would help
absolutely.
answer the question.
One moment.
And while we are at it, can the 30 and 60 charge the battery from the grid? We saw this question as well.
Yes, you can use either an AC generator or the grid to charge batteries through the 30K, 60K. And we can also do this with the 15K. So we have a lot of homeowners that want to be using time of use, for example. So they charge their batteries at low peak or off peak rates, and then pull power from the batteries at peak rate times, because it's more cost affordable. In a few areas, not many, they actually allow you to sell back from the batteries at peak rates. So that's a little bit of what we call energy arbitrage. And that same feature for the residential 15K is available with the 30K and 60K.
Can anyone
we're
see
about,
see
we
the
see,
standard 30K wiring
Mm.
slide?
we see.
Alrighty. Let me just go again through the question. Yep, I think this was Khalil Smith's question, if I am not mistaken, correct? So basically, mhm.
It was Charlie asking if there is a load terminal, like the smaller inverters. And then
Oh,
Khalil also asked a question
okay.
about that.
Well, as you can see, the critical loads panel terminal is right here, right beneath the PV input. And actually, let me see if in the other slide we can see it more accurately. It's here, the load port.
And then Khalil, does the Gen port work as a smart load for the 30 and 60 like it does for the smaller inverters? Since there isn't a load port that we can see from the wiring diagram, this is the runoff off grid, he says.
Yep, the 30 and 60K can work or have the capability to work as a smart load with the Gen output here.
Almost last question here. If there is no internet ability, how can we monitor the system?
All right, Tina. Unfortunately, if we do not have internet connection, we cannot monitor the system
remotely. But
remotely. That is correct.
you can still see what's happening on the LCD screen. We have a color touch LCD screen. It's no different than what you find on the residential 15K. So if you do have an issue, thank you, Gustavo. So on the right side, you can see this is what our screen looks like. You can adjust anything right there on the screen. So we do have some customers, they're very private. They actually prefer not to be connected to the internet by choice. We just, of course, advise them if you do have a situation with your system, the best we can do is you give us maybe a video call and you have to literally show your phone and we have to walk you through how to push the buttons on the front of the screen, because what we normally can do ourselves, we wouldn't be able to do that without being connected to the internet. But if you prefer to not be connected to the internet or you do lose internet, you will not lose power.
Nicholas is saying here, I thought one of the big advantages of the 30 and 60K was to eliminate the critical loads panel, but the wiring diagram shows the critical load panel.
Yeah, well, regarding this question here, well, if we do not have the critical loads panel, we wouldn't be able to feed any loads in the scenario of an outage. So that's why we still need to have the critical load panel in the 30K.
And last question we will answer, I think, is also what is the battery voltage on the 30K and the 15K?
All right. The battery voltage, I think he's referring to the voltage range that we can operate. So basically for the 30K, it would be 150 to 500 volts. And for the 60K, if I'm not mistaken, it's 150 as well to 800 volts.
Sounds good. I think we will put a stop here. We're already 20 minutes past the hour. Thanks, Andy and Gustavo, for I think, a long and very educational deck and presentation. Again, thanks everybody for joining us today, and thanks Andy and Gustavo. We will work on the recording and email it to you in the next few days. Have a great rest of your week, everybody, and see you soon.
Thank you, Aris.
Thank you, Aris. Appreciate you having us.